Uganda became independent in 1962 and inherited a lot of practices and traditions from her British colonialists. These, like the education curriculum in Ugandan schools, and the court attire, like the robes, and specifically the wigs, have not changed. The use of wigs in British courts dates back to the 1680s. Upon the return of Charles II from France, the fashion of the court of Louis XVI for powdered wigs became a requirement for the smart members of English society. Since England had just emerged from a bloody civil war between those who wore their hair short and those who wore their hair long, the pervasive use of wigs was an obvious way to cover over the divisions in society as well as the occasional bald spot. Uganda's parliamentary speakers also don the ceremonial headdress. And as the Supreme Court hears the presidential election petition, it is noteworthy that the justices have opted not to wear wigs.
Part of it is attributed to the hot environment, and this is a very hot environment during this time, and secondly, it's now becoming optional as the judges agreed at one of their conferences, the annual judges, the previous annual judges conference.
These wigs are manufactured by two British oligopolies, Stanley Ley Limited and Ed and Ravenscroft in the United Kingdom. Each wig costs between $1,000 to $6,000, or an equivalent of £4,000.
It costs some close to some of money, but we buy them as we need them, so because they're expensive in a way. So, and when we get new judges, so they as part of the instruments they need also the wigs and the gowns and whatever. So, and also the other facilities like vehicles and whatever. So we have to buy them.
In 2012, government had financial difficulties in procuring new wigs. For Uganda to procure the ceremonial wigs for 76 justices of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal and High Courts, government would have to spend a whopping 1 billion shillings. Each wig came with a hefty price tag of roughly 13.5 million shillings. So I took to the streets of Kampala to find out whether this wig can be manufactured locally.
Can you make it for me?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
What do you do usually when you're building wigs?
So when we're building wigs, we use hair net, the net that covers the hair, but there is so many types. There is this type that we can use to sew a weave on this net. We use this hair net, which is it is strong. It is not like these ones they wear at night. These one are made for wigs. So to make this one, I think you measure the head. It depends on the size of the head. Then you start according to the way how you need it. You remember there is sweaters they used to do in wood. Those threads. I think you can do it like those sweaters.
Using those, like the material for sweaters.
Yes.
What do you estimate using that material it would cost to build something like this? So how much would it cost for me? You've used the threads, just an estimate. How much would it cost for me to do something like that here?
I think like 200.
200,000 only.
Yes.
This is upon somebody who to invest in them and see whether, and then to bring to us and we see whether they will work. So we are not saying that we can't buy them locally, because part of the dress code, that is the gowns, the gown is locally made. So we are not refusing to have them. So let somebody, maybe that's one way of making money.
In 2008, British judges in civil and family cases in England and Wales stopped wearing wigs as part of a new dress code. The judges also started wearing a new simplified design of working robes in court, all aimed at modernizing their court dress. The arguments against their use come with descriptions like ancient, quaint and outdated.
There's been a debate whether we should discard them. They are intimidating, and the people feel they don't want them, and when they come, they're very intimidated. The judges look like not human beings and whatever. So I think that would be maybe the observance now. It may be the transition and whatever, but we have not made a statement, a public statement that we have discarded them. They are still. Some feel they want them, or that we should have them. Some feel maybe we may discard them for the time.
Kenya dropped the use of the wigs in the courtroom in 2011. Perhaps this could be the reason some Ugandans feel it is time the wigs went.
Because it's true, it was inherited from our colonial masters. But really, apart from just making it a uniform, there's a way we can have our own cultural uniform.
I think it should be based on research. The judiciary, if it has done research and it finds it intimidating, I don't see any problem as to why they can't drop it.
Because of the robe and the white wig, a judge wearing a tank top and cut-offs yields as much power and authority as the man who wears a suit, bought from Man About Town or the famous Winner Classic or Woolworths. At the end of it all, it's the verdict that holds water.
Brian Mlondo, NTV, Weekend Edition.